When you're trying to sell to somebody online, through the internet, digitally, it's a little bit different from one-to-one sales. You're not right in front of this person, so you can't make that one-to-one connection as easily. When you're separated, you might be separated by an email automation or a webinar, or they're finding your information through social media or something else. It makes it a little bit harder for people to feel comfortable that you know what you're talking about and they should buy from you. So how can you do that when you're online? 2 words: brand authority. If you can establish authority in your brand, you can build trust faster and get more people to buy from you. So today we are going deep into brand authority, from what it is to 4 great ways to build brand authority in your brand. And we're going to talk about how long you should expect it to take before that authority really settles in. My name is Trent Kennelly. I'm a marketing strategist, and on this channel, I talk about all the things that you can do to improve your business through marketing, sales, and analytics. So if that sounds good to you and you're excited, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to my channel if you're into it, comment and let me know if you feel like you're more likely to buy from somebody with authority, or if this doesn't even really hit you. Maybe you don't even realize that this is hitting you. In any case, I would love to know. Just leave a comment down below so I know, and let's get started. All right, so what is brand authority? Brand authority is a feeling. It's a feeling of confidence in you or your brand's expertise as expressed by your prospects. What does that mean? That means that your prospects are showing confidence in you. That's really all it comes down to. Brand authority is very closely related to trust, because if they believe that you are an expert and you know what you're talking about in a particular field, the trust in you will significantly increase, and it'll do so naturally. So by way of example, Tony Robbins. So Tony Robbins has been around for a long time in the self-help and business entrepreneurship spaces, puts lots of ideas out there, produces loads of content, and speaks about how to find success in yourself and in your business. And as a result of all of that, people look to him as an authority in those spaces. Now, if you were to get really critical, you would say, well, Tony doesn't have a degree that would really allow him to be in these spaces. But that's not really the point of this. I'm not saying that you should go out there and say whatever you want as long as you build authority. It's great. What I am saying is Tony Robbins has established himself in this space because other people look to him as an expert. So you coming into this space, having never heard of Tony Robbins, might see that he's got a lot of people that follow him and a lot of people that trust everything that he has to say. And as a result, you are already going to be assigning more authority to him just by nature of the fact that other people are assigning that authority. All right, let's talk about how to build it. So the general idea here is that you build brand authority by insisting that you have it and then being right more often than you're wrong. I know that that sounds a little bit counterintuitive, but the fact is that nobody knows you're an authority unless you either tell them or build enough authority with one group that that group is going to start to tell other groups about your authority. So one group will say, oh yeah, I got a lot out of listening to this person, buying from them, whatever. And they're going to tell that other group, you should also be listening to them and buying from them, etc. Okay? So let's talk about some specific things that you can do today to start building brand authority. First, use social media. So I know that this seems obvious. It is very, very effective though, because when people see you out there posting content, you're showing the world that you have knowledge that you want to share and that you're putting it out there for people to see and learn from you. Now, does that mean that your authority has to be acknowledged in the form of some massive follower number, like you have to have 100,000 people before you've established that authority? No, definitely not. The follower number actually really doesn't have a lot to do with the authority that you're building on social media. A social media presence really allows you to show people that you know what you're talking about. If they see you posting, that's really the biggest step. Some of my biggest clients are sold on me because I post on social media. At the time of making this video, I only have around 600 subscribers on YouTube, like 500 on Instagram. But it doesn't matter. What I'm saying to them resonates with them and makes them look to me as an authority, and therefore they are willing to work with me as a result of what I'm saying on social media and how I must have so much more to give as a result of that, right? So start by picking 2 or 3 different platforms and go from there. Check out this video for a breakdown of the big ones so you can understand those a little bit better. Next, build social proof. So this is an example of another emotional trigger that boosts authority. You can check out this video for a lot of different emotional triggers and how they all play together. But the idea here is that social proof is testimonials and statements from people that talk about how much benefit they've received from you in the past. This can even be something as simple as logos of companies that you've worked with in the past just slapped up on your webpage. I've seen that be very, very effective. Social proof instantly increases authority because it feeds off of at least one of the following 2 things. 1, the authority of companies that have worked with you before, and 2, the tendency to trust the opinions of other people. So let's dig into those a little more. So on the authority of other companies, there are thousands of trusted people and companies that are out there today, and people are going to follow the suggestions of these groups more easily because they already view them as credible. And so if you're able to associate yourself or your business with the authority that's already been built by those companies, you're effectively leeching off of that authority. And so people are seeing, okay, I trust this company trusts you, so I'm gonna trust you. If A equals B and B equals C, A equals C, right? Okay, so that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get people to see that as a result of this association, there should be this association as well, okay? And that's really why a lot of the time getting one high profile client can change your entire business. It gets your company instant credibility with a lot of people. And then as to the tendency to trust others, if we see that somebody else has come before us and has not only come out the other side unscathed, but has come out better than they were before, then we're gonna tend to trust your company more because we're gonna see that this person did it, they were fine, and so I'm gonna do it as well. It doesn't even matter if you know this person or not, if you've ever even heard of them in your life, we are hardwired to trust the opinions of other people, so we're more likely to take an action if we hear the opinion of somebody else being very positive. So for example, let's just picture this in our minds, okay? You're standing in front of a restaurant, you're looking at the menu, you're trying to decide if you wanna go in or not, maybe you're discussing it with a friend or significant other or whatever. Somebody comes out of that restaurant and goes, oh my God, that's the best meal I've ever had in my whole life. They look at you and they say, you need to go in there. You have to go experience this. Does that make you want to go in more or less? It definitely makes you want to go in more. It doesn't matter that you don't know this person, you've never seen them before in your life, because they said it was very good, you are more interested in going in there and experiencing it yourself. So by showing testimonials on your page, you're doing the exact same thing. You're instilling in people that others have come before, that they've had an incredible experience, and that this person who's reading your sales page should also want to have that experience. Next great tactic is to get interviewed. So by being interviewed, the interviewer instantly puts you or your brand in a position of authority. Their audience is hearing a person that they listen to and that they respect draw inspiration or knowledge from you. And as a result, the interviewer is effectively assigning authority to you by virtue of the interview itself before you've even said anything. Now, of course, you can tank the interview and that's a problem, but if you can be interviewed and you can do so confidently and with skill, it's really gonna help you to build that authority with that group. So just by way of example, let's look at any interview podcast. Tim Ferriss, How I Built This. These podcasts take people in business and establish them as authorities. Now, yes, in a lot of cases, these guys are already authorities. Maybe they've been around for 20 years, but sometimes they're also not. Sometimes they're still building their business. And in all cases, they are increasing the cachet of the people and the brands who are coming onto these shows. So if you can get interviewed, even by a small podcast, YouTube channel, publication, blog, whatever, you're strengthening your brand authority everywhere. Final tactic is to host events. So these don't have to be live, especially because COVID makes it very difficult to go live right now, to be in a real world environment. We can do lots with digital events, and they're getting more and more popular by the day. Because by hosting events, you're increasing the awareness of your brand and you get to show off your knowledge in a much deeper form. This is very different from social media. In social, you're posting something for the whole world to see, you're attracting as many eyes as you can to that profile, but because it's public, anybody's gonna kind of pass through and maybe not pay much attention. In event hosting, you're actually trying to get people into an enclosed space, even if that's a digital space, hold them for an hour or more, and show them a piece of the knowledge that you have. So think of a webinar, for instance. You sign up for a webinar, you go into that webinar, and you watch it for an hour before you make a decision to make a purchase or something like that. This really adds to your authority because of that what else does she or he know mystique, but also because you're showing a really deep understanding of the subject matter that you're talking about, and you're indicating to people that they can get a lot out of it that's very personalized and specific by talking to you. All right, so how long is this gonna take? Well, as with many things marketing, it depends. If you choose to go social media, it could take longer than if you choose to go for podcasts, hosting events, etc. Now that's not because the follower count is really important, but rather because getting eyes on that social media can be difficult. Unless you're talking to prospects outside and then sending them to that social media so that they can really get a feel for what you're talking about, having random views come into your social media just isn't really very likely at this point. So you can expect that it's gonna take a long time with social media to really get those eyes on your social media posts, and you have to do it for a long time before you start to see any results. But the upside is that the authority that you're establishing is very strong and pretty much evergreen from that point forward for at least a few years, okay? But if you can start getting on other people's podcasts by comparison, or hosting events or something like that, you could find that it goes much faster because you're already accessing audiences that have authority with the host, etc. Okay? The downside to this is, of course, that there's often a huge upfront cost that comes along with going this route. Now, that isn't to say that you can't mix these two. In fact, I would almost always suggest that you have some social media going because in the long run, it'll be worth it. But having an understanding of which ones are going to give you the outcome you want faster and slower is really important. There you go. Those are some really strong ways to build brand authority. I hope that helped you to understand what it is and some of the great ways that you can take advantage of this. This is super, super important to do, so I really encourage you to do it. Let me know if you have any good examples of brand authority that you've come across that maybe you're thinking about replicating. If you have any questions about that, about how to implement something that someone else has done. I'm always a fan of taking the ideas of other people and adapting them to your situation. Don't plagiarize. That's not a good thing to do, kids. But one way or another, if you can take the ideas of other people and adapt them, that's never a bad thing. Otherwise, if you like this video, make sure you give it a like, subscribe to my channel if you're into it, and I will catch you in the next one.